Hello and welcome to the BLAZEClan Podcast. I am your host, Brady Medearis, along with my co-host, DamienDiablo. Very special guest on with us, DoublePulse. You've probably seen him around StoryFire, but if not, you're going to get
Hell yeah, guys. What's up?
Which we're going to call him most of the time throughout this because that's just how we know him.
Yeah.
So, Steve, how you been doing today, man?
I'm doing great. I'm doing awesome. Anyway, guys, anyone who has known me on StoryFire by DoublePulse, or you might know me better as Steven, I do a lot of stuff on there, such as the GTA Online Stories video series application. Got in round 1. I do writing a little bit as well, but I'm also on YouTube doing filmmaking, vlogs, and that stuff. And I got into StoryFire right around the time when it launched, since I was already in the McJuggernaut community. And I think it was about 2016 when he launched, and now this is what I'm up to, making videos on StoryFire and written the stories and just having a good time.
And that's awesome. And one thing that I wanted to say was with that is that, like, for me, it's really cool to see that, you know, from someone's perspective that was already in the Juggy community before StoryFire.
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't get involved until, and then it was just kind of, you know, with the StoryFire community, like meeting them and everything, and then realizing, oh, you know, we're talking 2017 when it first came out, and it was just all Juggies, like, it's part of the Juggy community, and wow, this Juggy community is really awesome. So that's really cool that you can also relate to that, where it's like,
well, it's amazing too, because it anything, if you've been already in the community and you've already been around, even on the Twitch streams, you're sort of influenced. People kind of know you in there already, and you have a slightly better chance of being seen, but everyone's very supportive there. You know, I mean, I'm not super big on the scale in terms of sub count, but I've been able to help the app a lot, being a mod on there, and it kind of transitioned over from just being a mod on Jesse's streams, and I think it's pretty cool to help shape something so small first. It's gonna, it hopes to grow so big,
and it's gaining so much traction lately.
Yeah.
But so that's interesting. So, like, you're saying, like, people from a Juggy community, once they first downloaded StoryFire, that's DoublePulse from Twitter. Like, I know that guy.
Yeah.
Like, let me see what this guy got. So let me see what he's doing.
Right. Definitely.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Quite a few questions for you, Steven.
Sure. Sounds good.
Yeah. Half of them we've already gone through, but we're doing it again.
We're gonna have Diablo asking those for you tonight. So.
Right.
Okay, so we're starting off with the Twitter questions. First one is from Baitu, otherwise known as Caleb from
Caleb,
Solo.
yep. Good old Caleb.
He asks, what is your favorite African animal?
So, before we found the Ipsies, we were talking about how, like, I was going to pick kangaroo, and to find out, I don't even know if a kangaroo is in Africa. So, I think, I think it's like Australia. I was like, what? But I think if I had to go with Africa specifically, I love the cheetah. I mentioned this earlier. Like, the cheetah is really, really quick, and it goes like 65, 75 miles per hour, and it's just imagine riding a cheetah. Like, imagine how freaking
awesome yet dangerous it is. But, like, a vehicle
dangerous.
Just dangerous, right? I mean, it's not gonna, your own car ain't gonna attack you, but
I'd like to have a cheetah.
You're riding with a bunch of other cheetahs.
I think you're more likely to die. I don't know. Are you more likely to? I think you're more likely to die by a cheetah or a car. I'd say about both of them, depending on how aggressive the cheetah is.
They have their pros and cons for sure.
Oh, totally. They have.
But yeah, imagine, you ever stand on, like, a bridge, like, above the expressway, and you just see these cars whipping by?
Yep.
Running that fast. Like, what would you do? Like, if you just saw that, that's insane.
I mean, I think the reason why I think the only issue with that, though, is a car still will surpass the cheetah in the long distance due to the fact that the cheetahs, I think, run at shorter bursts, but at a faster rate. So they're going to get tired while the car won't get tired.
Growing, yep.
So
and cars gain
really
traction as they go.
Freaking Teslas and stuff. Oh my god.
That's the dream car.
That's the dream car at this point. Get yourself a Tesla and remove the inhibitors, and you can go anywhere between 200, I think it's like 200 to 260 miles per hour.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Let's see if you remove the inhibitors, though.
Okay, we have a next question from Dylan DeVille on Twitter. He asks, so is GTA 5 your favorite video game, and what are your top 3 favorite video games?
When it comes to video games, I would say GTA is in the tops, but I don't know if it technically would be a top 3. Mainly, it is definitely in the top 10, though, for sure. For top 3, though, for me, I would definitely say going back to old school, like very kind of not necessarily too old school, but Phantasy Star Online was one of mine on the Dreamcast. Resident Evil the franchise as a whole is something I love a lot. That would be definitely number 3 on the list. And I like that because like I got introduced to Resident Evil at a younger age, but then kind of got bored of it for a while. I played all the original 1, 2s, and 3s, and then right around 4 and 5, I stopped. And then about a decade later, my friends say, "Hey, you want to play Resident Evil co-op on Resident Evil 5?" And that's when I just kind of like say, "Oh, this is awesome. I actually like the series again." So I went back, played the old ones, and then I played the newer ones, and I just like the overall, the plot, the story. And I think the third one for me, oh man, the third one would have to be like any of the, I think the Yakuza. Yakuza's another series that I've been getting into lately. Just love the immersion that you can do with some of that stuff. What about you?
See, for me, it was always, I'm so nostalgic for my childhood that it's hard to not. It's like I grew up playing Kingdom Hearts my entire childhood, so that be like my favorite for that reason. But then there's when I was getting a little bit older, like not quite a teenager yet, but still an older kid in a way.
Right.
I fell in love with the Red Dead Redemption, the first one.
Yeah.
Game,
classic.
Through my teens.
Red Dead Redemption is great.
Yeah, oh my god, such a great game. I was so in love with that game. It's hard not to choose those. And, like even though games nowadays are far superior, like Red Dead Redemption 2 compared to the first one, like choose the first or the second, but it's just my preference, and yeah.
Yeah, I know your series was very based off of that Outlaws one. I think one of the first one I've read of yours. Outlaws. I thought it was the Young Outlaws. That was pretty cool.
That for me it was always kind of tough because like that story was 100% inspired by Red Dead Redemption. 100%. There was variations.
I think I mentioned that in the comment before.
I do remember seeing something like that in the comments, like this has Red Dead all over it. I'm like, yep.
Definitely.
Yes, sir. But yeah, for me, it was always kind of tough that way because it's like, man, I don't want people to think I'm copying it. Because the story was about a kid in a gang. The Red Dead Redemption, the story of that was after
they've grown up.
He was hunting down his old gang members.
Yeah.
So like, what's the story about someone in a gang of outlaws? And then Red Dead Redemption 2 comes out, and it's about being in a gang of outlaws.
Yeah.
I told it through the eyes of a child. Like if a child was, like succumbed to be in an outlaw gang.
They stole your idea.
That kid's eyes.
They stole his idea.
Got you.
Like I stole my idea from StoryFire, damn it. Like imagine though, like in Red Dead Redemption 2, if you played the game through the eyes of Jack Marston, maybe like action wise, but that's a deep story.
That would be a real deep story because
the kid go through seeing all this stuff happening in his life.
And
I also kind of think that you see all these fan fictions. On the other day was like Assassin's Creed, like blatantly like Assassin's Creed story.
Yeah.
Assassin. You know what I mean? Like it's cool.
For sure.
Like it's cool to do things like that and kind of like from the lore of your favorite stuff, to make your own out of that.
I can see that.
What about you? What about you, Diablo? What's your favorite video games?
I'm a big Nintendo guy.
Nintendo?
The first game I ever played was Super Mario Galaxy for the Wii, and that
Super Mario Galaxy.
Yeah, Dang. That was a very, very good first game to start off with.
You've ever? Yeah, go on. I wasn't sure if you ever played like the Sunshine before that.
No, I want to though. I really do, because I watched a lot of videos about Super Mario Sunshine. I just don't have a GameCube, which I think is what it's on.
Yeah, they need to port that over to the Switch.
Or just get like Super Mario Sunshine 2. That would be cool.
For sure.
But, yeah, Mario Kart is my number one out of the Nintendo franchise, because like that's the game that I probably spent the most time on, and I think it's really fun and interesting to whenever you play online.
I like Mario Kart for sure, only if you're playing online. I can't play that in single player for some reason. It's just not the same anymore. If you played it back in the day with couch co-op, you have to play that kind of stuff like with other people.
Well, I played that game a lot as a child, but I never got into it because I never got good at it. I played with my friends on the couch, like you were saying, Steven. It didn't matter if you won or lost; you're just doing it for the fun. Lost time.
When you're playing online with Japanese folks, it gets very competitive very fast.
I'm sure.
Oh, totally. Everyone's gonna be competing, and I can't even imagine like going into a game tournament doing that.
Going from like my childhood to where it's all fun to wow, these guys take this very seriously. Like that sucks. But that's just me because like. These same friends are still to this day really into Mario Kart.
Right.
That when we were done playing Mario Kart at their house, I'd go home, they'd stay at home and play Mario Kart and get good at it, figure out the tips and tricks. And I'm just like back home playing Kingdom Hearts, playing, the games I know, the games I like to play, by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely see that for sure.
Nowadays, I'm like, this looks nothing like the games I played.
No, they don't.
But I mean, that's awesome.
Okay. Next question from Twitter from Riley Marilla, if that's how you say his last name.
I think Marilla. I think that is indeed correct.
Okay, so he asks, if someone ever found you laying on the street and questioned if you were dead or not, would they have to check for 2 pulses?
Huh. Oh, gee. I mean, really, we went very deep into this last. We went very deep on this last time. We were to kind of summon, but to really summon it though, they would have to check pulses in like maybe multiple spots or something like that. I don't know. I could probably see myself being fine with 1 pulse, but an extra pulse would be an extra boost of power. Like, maybe more blood flow. I could survive longer by having 2 pulses. That's what I was thinking. So,
or maybe it'd be like you're on cocaine all the time.
Right.
24/7. Maybe 24/7. Yeah, 24/7 cocaine. I mean, she. It's
all the time.
It's funny. It's funny that he mentioned double pulses because that's sort of how I originated the name. Was to have. I played a lot of online games, so I played online games such as Final Fantasy, World of Warcraft, But the biggest one I played for probably nearly a decade of my life was RuneScape. And the whole concept with that name was you have a warrior who has, who every time he, gets stronger or he gets into this rage mode, he starts beating 2 pulses. His heart starts beating twice as fast. So there's a bunch of like lore and characters that I would cover up with these characters, and DoublePulse was one of those characters. So that's kind of how I just stuck with the name. I mean, to be honest, if it wasn't DoublePulse, there had been other names that I would buy. That I've got like a whole countless list of names.
So if you ever need to change your identity, you can.
Dude, I know I can. The biggest one that I still love to this day was Name Deleted, because every time I would go into an online game back then, I couldn't pull it off now. People would ask me, "Is your name deleted? Like, why don't you have a name?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, no. The admins of the game, the admins of whatever, they decided that my name was too inappropriate, so they removed it." But then I developed a story around these characters. It's really weird, and they each have their own story arcs. And hopefully one day on StoryFire, I'll put them up there.
That would be cool. I'd like to see that.
The one that you can watch now, believe it or not, and this is a name that this is like one of the first few, was Napalm. I had a story back in the day that was based off of like one of those characters. And it was like, who is Napalm or something? And it was a bunch of, mages and archers that went inside a wilderness to go look for some prey, and one of them got kidnapped or something like that. But that's the idea of where it went. But yeah, they would have to look for maybe 1 pulse would be fine, but 2 would be optimal.
Yeah. Okay. Next question from Twitter is from Riz, otherwise known as Osculator.
Yep.
He asks, "What's your plan for the future, whether that be video, filmmaking, etc.?"
Basically, for me, I think filmmaking is definitely my calling. I want to build into a part where I can build a studio out of it, and not only build a career for myself doing that, but have an independent film studio to help bring other people on who do film as well, so we can kind of create something together.
Yeah.
I'm also very much into podcasting, and I work with somebody on a more professional level when it comes to podcast, and I help audio engineer his shows. And then the other big one is doing something like video game type trailers, either movie trailers, video game trailers, or films in general. But I want to be the guy that's like behind the scenes, editing it, piecing it together like it's a story. I love that concept of it, and my whole plan is to either find something in a company or eventually to build my own, but find something to build my skills, build my reputation and my brand as a filmmaker, and then eventually take those skills into help building something bigger off that as well. So that's kind of how I'm aiming at it.
Nice.
Okay.
That was really cool. That you have like
having a plan with it.
Of like,
I'm
gonna make my, then I'm gonna get big. I'm gonna do this and that.
Right.
You actually are like, no, okay, I'm gonna start by doing this for other companies.
Right.
I'm going to build myself up by learning all this, getting that experience, and then taking that to my side hustle.
Mm-hmm. I think everyone kind of, because I think the thing is that everyone needs to not only think about what they're doing, but why they're doing it. Because if you don't have like a good enough why, you're going to fizzle out in the end. And it's going to be one of those things where like, when you get to the end or get to your goal, it doesn't necessarily feel as good as if you're building that up. So like, for instance, if all of a sudden, if somebody passed me on $1 million today and I had to go build a film company or something like that, having like a list of steps of things that I can achieve short term and that leads into the big long-term goal, it keeps that momentum going versus, trying to go for the big thing right away and be like, oh, well, I'm going to fizzle out and I'm gonna get bored with what I'm doing.
Like,
and I don't know.
Screw all that small stuff. That's all small talk. I'm going for the mountains, man.
Right,
Like,
you got to go for the mountain.
And if you do escalator up the mountain, you get up there and
the escalator up the mountain.
Even though you pulled it off, that wasn't that hard.
A lot of people
like your drive needs to come from within, like your why.
Right. Definitely.
Then you're driven. You are, no matter what. I don't care if I can retire. I'm gonna keep doing this. Like, like it's not.
Well, one of the things too that I've known, even like other people who've done that stuff, is they've retired for a little bit, right? And they go back to work because retirement's fucking boring. Like when you're a filmmaker and you're kind of like a creative, person, whether you're doing writing, it's like you can't, like, everyone imagines retirement sitting on a beach and just sipping a freaking alcoholic beverage of their choice, a martini or something, and like living life like that. But when you think about it, after a while, that's gonna get boring, especially if there's like nothing to achieve after that.
And the reality is, you are rotting away while doing this.
Right.
You're literally rotting there. You're just sitting there.
You're rotting away.
Yeah. It might seem relaxing, this and that, but no, you're sitting there rotting.
Definitely.
Hey, like, what's up?
I'm not. I don't know about you. But yeah, that's exactly how it is. I think it's just, you kind of want to give yourself a little bit of these dopamine hits, but don't go for the big thing. I recently watched a video about that, and I think everything kind of goes on that.
Because you can get, that satisfaction from the small stuff. But you have to set it there first. Like, I want this small thing. I want to accomplish this one little thing. I want to get that done so bad. Like a week to get it, a week of hard work straight. That week ends, you get it, you feel so good, even though it's the smallest thing.
Right.
You want that, and you get it. So.
Like you were mentioning, one of the things you were mentioning earlier was you were talking about how you're into writing, and how with you as a writer, you feel like StoryFire is not the end there be all, but like it helps set a foundation to what you want to do with like your own things.
For me, because I always loved stories. Like I was like I was a kid that was in class, and some kids would draw in their notebooks. I'd be writing stories, not like full out, but I'd be like writing little concepts and really cool. But I have nowhere to put these. Like, it's gonna throw it in my locker, and that was cool. I'll go back to it one day and do it. StoryFire came out, and I was like, yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, oh wow, these people actually care about what the stories they have to tell, and how I can make them better, and this and that. And it's like, wow, that's so cool. Like, wow, I finally have a place where I can put these, and it's been so rewarding. So rewarding.
I was actually never really into writing until I did get StoryFire and wrote my first actual story on there, and then I got hooked.
I can relate to that. I think with me, and especially with writing, is I never was really a huge fan of the writing process. I was more into like, if I have an idea, and especially if it's for a film, why not just film it now instead of writing it? But I feel like writing kind of helps get that thing kind of off your mind and on paper, because let's be real, you're not going to remember half those deals like that went down in the plot, and it's harder to do that without any sort of foundation to it, for sure.
Okay, so next question coming from Kyle Perone. What do you look for in a woman? Like, what's the future Mrs. DoublePulse gonna look like in her personality?
Oh my god. So Kyle and I always run in these conversations where we talk about women and we joke around and all this. He's always trying to get me to like talk to some girl or something like that. It's so funny. But in all theory, to keep it real, like, I'm not looking for a a long-term relationship right now per se until I get all this other stuff taken care of. However, say hypothetical situation, if I were to have a girlfriend tomorrow, I mean, it's possible, but if I was in that situation, I would want to look for somebody that has similar interests to me, like, similar things that we like to do. And I know there's going to be some stuff different because you're never going to find someone identical to you. It would just be boring. But I want someone, say, like, to find someone who's already doing film or who's already doing music. So, like, we can build something together versus me building it alone. Like, someone who is dedicated to kind of, like, succeeding as well. So if they want to do something on that level of, like, hey, I want to do if they're into filmmaking or they're into music and I'm into that, we can build it together versus trying to do it on our own. I think that's kind of like always the best part.
You definitely want to find someone that shares similar values to you in that way, where it's like, you're interested in doing the same things, kind of like, because if they want to go in one direction, you want to go in the complete opposite direction.
Right.
I would say it's not possible because there's plenty of people that live that way and they make it work, Just, it's not necessarily ideal, I would think.
Like,
not all the time. It varies on the type of relationship it is, for sure.
Yeah, I could see it being, like, fun. And it's attract. So it's like, you could have this girlfriend that's being creative and this and that, follow the trail, and and I could see that being like, oh wow, that's someone completely opposite than me, and like I see that quite a bit actually.
Yeah,
but he doesn't always go. But I could see that being fun on long term. I just think there'd be so many problems that would eventually have to come to the surface. But
I can see that for sure.
Yeah, there's a difference between relationships that are short term and ones that are long term.
Yeah, and it's hard to find that.
It's hard to find those. I mean, a lot of time people. I mean, I think it's always fun to have a more kind of a. Sometimes it is fun to play around with shorter relationships and just do that stuff. But if you're wanting to really settle down, make sure you have everything in your line taken care of, and then that way it's easier on both of you versus trying to go in there right away. And there's so many people that are trying to get into these relationships at an early age, and you're like, oh, well, okay, in a few years they get a divorce. It's like, what was almost the point of getting into that in marrying if you couldn't afford it? And now it's that. So there's a lot of factors that go into a relationship. But for me, it's finding someone with similar values, someone who's not necessarily has to be in the same career line as me, but willing to take that part of my life seriously and be willing to do their own thing as well. Instead of it being like dependent on someone, be also independent with what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm ready to see what Mrs. DoublePulse looks like in the future.
Oh my God, are we posting something? Oh yeah. No, I thought we were dude. For a second ago, I thought you had to post an image on like freaking like one of the chats. I'd be like, put it like a face app. I was like, this DoublePulse turn me into a female.
Show pulse right there.
Yep. Okay, next question. This is from I Am Incarnate on Twitter. That's Devin.
Yep.
He asks, what is your favorite series on StoryFire other than yours or Flame Gang Adventures?
For me, it's between right now my three top series are Stolen Coast, Shallow, and Dark Mine. I think all of those series are very well put together in a sense that they are like when I legit got accepted in the first round, I had thought Stolen Coast, Shallow, and Dark Mine, I didn't even know they were in that competition. So when I saw Dark Mine, I thought that was like, what, did he get like taken in here just to like, had a contract signed or something like that, and to make this series? Because it's very Netflix, like the quality of it's really good.
Yeah, Miz did a great job with that for sure.
That last episode was like, oh my.
I haven't seen the episode yet. I want to see it.
I'm telling you, it's so
It's amazing.
I have to watch
It's
it.
like a movie.
Yeah, it very feels like Netflix type stuff, and I like that,
Definitely.
and I hope. And I think what kind of irritates me just a tiny bit when it comes to the whole like StoryFire thing, not like it's cool, but when you have all the people doing blogs, and then you have a series that is so well put together by the folks over Shallow or Dark Mind, and this, you kind of think it's going to bridges the gap between, it's better than YouTube content, but it's kind of like not quite the Netflix, so it's like right in between. But then when you go over and you see blogs and you see this, you're like, wait a minute, are we still technically like in that Netflix quality range, or are we doing that? So I would love to see more stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think it's like YouTube
Shallow a lot.
Right. They talk about a lot of YouTube alternative kind of thing.
Like, if you were to put Shallow on YouTube, there is no chance.
You could put it on. I think you could put it on YouTube.
You could,
but you can put it on
in terms of it making money, then
making money or demonetize, they'll instantly demonetized. But I also think like they would have to get their money elsewhere, and I don't know how marketable or researched would it be. And I think web series in general on YouTube don't do as well as they do. They still do well, but they're not as prevalent.
They're the same as like the animators, like the amount of work they put into their creations.
Right.
Monetary value they get back.
Animations sometimes can take a month to create.
They take a long time. Like, I mean, mine is taking longer than I wanted to. I started this back in 2016, and it still is not even done.
It's funny. I remember reading
such a trip.
The stories. I remember reading your stories that turned into the video series. I remember reading the detective stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this he has this
like
whole
Cold
GTA
Year or something
going for him, and that was like carried over this entire time. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't do that much right now, but for sure.
Yeah. Okay, next question from on Twitter. The last one from Twitter, by the way. This is from Corey R. Hepler on Twitter. He asks,
Corey.
God.
What he okay.
We've gotten one of these before. He asks, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood?
How much wood can a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck would chuck? Oh, man. Oh, God. Well, it depends if how much. Well, that depends if their woodchucker doesn't break halfway chucking down the first tree. I would say maybe 2 or 3 trees worth of wood before it breaks.
Yeah.
It's like
the full
like in Minecraft, and you're trying to destroy wood with that wooden thing.
Full mathematical analytics. We'll get into this hour thinking conversation.
Yeah, we guessed about 47.
Damn.
I think.
Not bad.
I think that's what I said, but question. Okay.
That's the official answer for that question.
Yep.
You heard it here first.
So the next set of questions comes from our BLAZEClan Discord server.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It's
this question. Oh, you go for it.
Oh, I was just saying, like, it's funny because, like, you think that all the Twitter questions are gonna be it, but no, we have like a whole booklet of questions, which is awesome. All right.
Okay. This one comes from News Stories. He says, "Will you ever make a Red Dead Redemption series?"
I thought about it. I want to, but there is limitations. They have not put a Rockstar editor into it, so it kind of sucks. I don't know why they'd even include that in the game yet. It's like
there's so many things they haven't done that I'm disappointed in. Like,
I mean, and even for you, you could even make the freaking Young Outlaws and do a series, like a video series.
That's holy shit. You might be on something.
Right.
But yeah, I can like that. Like for real.
But yeah, I would like to. I think what I would do, I would probably start experimenting with pushing them on YouTube, and then if I did any sort of series on StoryFire, I'd probably have to submit for that. But it all depends. That's a good one. I definitely would love to do one. I just can't right now.
Okay. So on to the next one. This is once again from Dylan DeVille. He asks, "Yeah, is this the Beast Flame Gang?" On a serious note, can you schedule me an episode of the Flame Gang podcast? And what is your favorite?
What was the other one? What
is your favorite band or artist? Like
first off, when it comes to Flame Gang podcast, I'd have to reach out to the others. I know we're looking to get guests on for a while. The last few shows we haven't had for a few guests on it, but we're going to start doing something new when we get to, I think, the 21st or 22nd series. So you guys would have to stay tuned for that. Am I the Beast? I know that was kind of off topic, but no, I'm not the Beast. I don't know who the Beast is. And my favorite band, I have a lot of favorite bands and artists. I love old, like, depending, like, you know, if it's rock, if it's rap, it all varies. I think the one that I always, like, I'm trying to think of one that I always listen to a lot. It's hard because my music taste, I have a playlist of various songs from various artists.
I have that too.
But a lot of it is very kind of old school stuff, like Credence Revival or something like that. There's oh God, I'm trying to think at the top of my head. You know, you had old ones like Eminem, Green Day. I have one friend who's doing music too that I love his music. He's Fade Ultra. He's working on an album.
Yeah. I've seen him around Twitter.
There'll be more details on that. Definitely, I'm into very alternative music, but I don't have like a specific favorite band right now. It's a complete mess. I have no idea what my favorite band is.
Yeah,
what is your favorite band, Brady?
So, I was just gonna say I hate when I get asked questions like that, and then you just
right. It's like, what's your favorite food? Like,
yeah, I can say mine instantly.
I'm the same way, Stephen, where it's like older stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm very just like the video games towards music I grew up with, like early 2000s.
Right.
Stuff and everything. Like,
right.
I was a kid and that stuff was out, and I was just like jamming out to it. And now I'm older, and I see the meanings behind these songs. I'm like, wow.
Right. You look at the meaning, and it's completely different. You're like listening back then. You listen to Linkin Park or something.
When I was a kid, like just singing it in the car, like.
Oh my God!
This kid's like suicidal. It sounds like from what he's singing.
That.
And then also like even older songs like 80s and stuff like that. Like I don't know if you're familiar with GTA Vice City soundtrack.
Dude, Vice City was like probably the best. Any 80s music is usually top notch.
Yeah.
Mr. Blue Sky.
Even further.
Mr. Blue Sky.
Yep.
Yellow is awesome.
Okay.
Telephone line, stuff like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Our next and last question from our Discord folks is Raging Trollers. He asks, Yep. He asks, what is your favorite GTA series, starting from Vice City to nowadays GTA?
I actually just recently got into a conversation with someone on the forums. GTA forums is actually kind of where I did a lot of promotion for mine. I would say I think Grand Theft Auto San Andreas takes the cake as it being the most thing that is built with features. I think San Andreas is very well put together in terms of not necessarily with the story. Like it was ridiculous to a point where the story wasn't as ridiculous as number 5, but it was still very impactful in the way that like there was so much to do. They didn't care about like adding all these nuanced immersion things. They just let you have fun with it. Vice City would probably be the next one, and then it would go from number 4, and then number 5, I would say. I mean, I like number 5, but I feel like number 5 was very well, like they restricted it way too much.
Yeah, for sure. Story-wise, 5 always kind of disappointed me because
it was such a disappointment.
I like the story of 5, but at the same time, it's like characters, and it's a pretty short story when you think about it. Because how many missions are in GTA 5? Not that many. Main characters with their own stories. It's like their stories really get like sidetracked. Like really arc because we have 2 other main characters we get through.
Right. They decided. I think the issue was the fact that they focused too many characters on that. And then they fragmented the story, and it just kind of. They wanted the best of both worlds, but at the same time, it was like, well, they want to make an immersive story, and it's like it's GTA. It's not supposed to be too immersive. Like it's cool to do it, but
yeah, it's not going to
be. Let us have fun with it.
GTA 4 did it right, in my opinion. Not that the story's all that great, but like you had Nico Bellic's story, DLCs that with their own stories that took place during the game.
Yeah. I think the only thing that GTA 4 would have did better on was the content, like in an open world. But that was the start of the new generation.
I don't like bowling all the time. Bowling, it's boring. Bowling and darts, pool.
Definitely.
Bringing up like San Andreas was so like crazy, like all these things to do, and then GTA 4, it's like so dark.
There's 2 reasons. There's 2 reasons why San Andreas for me takes the cake though, and that was the multiplayer mod that allowed people to play multiple freaking people. I'm talking hundreds of 200 people on a server, and it was just free roam.
Remember that
scripted events. And then another mod, which the detective GTA thing, the Cold Year, the Britain story, that was actually based off of a video game mod for San Andreas that I did missions for called DYON, which is Design Your Own Mission. And it let you create your own video game, your mission pack in the game with no coding or anything like that.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff like that back in the day. Like on YouTube, I was like, like there was like the big YouTube days, and they were clickbaiting me. They're like the Sasquatch in San Andreas. I'm like, no way! Yeah. I click on it, and it's one of those mission.
Dude, they're doing it with 5 now.
You go find Sasquatch.
Dude, they're doing it with 5 now too. There's this dude on YouTube named Mad Carl that posts all these freaking like mods, but portrays them as real. It's so funny.
Oh, I think I might have saw one of those. Like, what happens if you do this?
What happens after you visit Michael's family after he dies or some shit?
Yeah. It's like
freaky.
The reality, we've all tried it. That no one's there. It's just the only thing they added was a for sale sign in front of his house, and that was it.
Right.
Okay. So our next questions, our final set of questions, coming from StoryFire. We asked on our. Yep, we made a post list to give us questions for Steven, and
that's amazing. You guys are all on top of your game now.
Thank you, Steven. Really appreciate it. Okay.
It's nice to have multiple platforms. People see it.
Yep. First is from New Stories. He asks, will you ever make a GTA Online movie?
So I have an idea that's kind of incorporated into the series already. Won't get too much into it, but there was a movie in the first season that was briefly mentioned called Vinewood Zombie. I want to do something where that is a movie on its own, but it plays into the series as well. So, for example, it would probably be like a 30-plus minute movie, but it would be hard to put together because of the fact that I would need to, I don't know if there would be any voice acting in it. I want it to be more of like a silent film with sound effects and music in it. But essentially what the movie is, it's going to be about a zombie apocalypse, and it plays into the series. I hope to get it done, but if not, then I don't know. It's in the air right now.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
Sure.
Okay. Next question comes from Brent Wright Art on StoryFire. He actually has 3 questions altogether, so I'm just going to ask you each one.
All right.
First one, who is your biggest inspiration?
I have a lot of inspirations. That goes back to that, like, oh, what's your favorite band? But the top 3 for me is, one of them is, you have someone like Gary Vaynerchuk's a pretty big one. Bryant Chambers is somebody that I work with he's been pretty cool. And then I think the third one now, it's been Dan Pena. Dan Pena is like top in his game. So one of the things that a lot of people like get together is like any of those big inspirations. I mean, I like other people too. Like I think like people like The Rock, Dwayne Johnson's really cool. You have Will Smith. A lot of these influential figures who are in the entertainment industry as well as sort of like, I would say have sort of influence, being motivational. I think they really know what they're talking about and stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting because like for me, it's people ask who's your biggest inspiration, and it's like, well, in what aspect are we talking?
Right. What aspect?
I have people that inspire me in certain ways.
Right. Exactly.
Like
Yeah,
just like
people...
you said, The Rock, like people like that like inspire me to physically and like not give up and this and that. And then there's other ones that are more mental, like the people that inspire you to escape your mind and don't worry about things too much. Do it, you know what I mean? Like many different ways to be motivated with different things.
The other 2 ones that bring to me is Kevin Hart and there's another one on top of my head, but I can't think of it.
Yeah, like sometimes you have people that inspire you to work, and then you have others that inspire you to eat Taco Bell. It's just different things.
Eat Taco Bell for sure.
It's funny because those inspirations are easy to overcome.
Right.
Eat Taco Bell is like, yeah.
That's like one of the inspirations that you have, but it won't be a long-term inspiration if you don't want to.
What do you get out of it? You get 2 minutes of satisfaction. And that's it.
The last one I was going to mention was Quentin Tarantino, the movie director. Like, I really like his content. I think him and many different independent ones. It's like he did both independent and, full Hollywood films as well. I'm not sure what he did.
Okay. Next question from Brent is your favorite author on StoryFire and author in general?
Author in general, I don't do a whole lot of reading in general. So I think some of the ones that are, I think one of my favorite authors is, I think he doesn't do independent. He doesn't do like, it's more nonfiction and more kind of like, like considered a self-help book. But I think his name is Austin. I don't think it says Austin Kleon. Steal Like a. He did a book. It might be his name, but he did a book called Steal Like an Artist. And I mean, Austin Kleon is probably one of the favorite. And then you have the other ones that do. God, I forgot that other one, but he did one talking about how there's 10 things that nobody has told you about being a creative. And it's a book about coming up with creative ideas. And it's a really good book. But on StoryFire, I'm saying my favorite author. There was a guy that used to do stories. I don't know if he's still around, but who was that creator that did stories on, like, he almost made it seem like he was real? Like, it's almost like a personal blog, but it was scripted.
Like, were the stories like it seemed real, like it could have been real? Like,
yeah, there was a guy that did a scripted story. It was kind of a mix of comedy and action, and I don't remember his name, but I would definitely say, Brady, you're one of the favorite authors on StoryFire for sure.
Man, thanks. Appreciate that.
There was the other guy too that I was trying to remember. I don't even remember. Sad, but I don't think he makes stories anymore. I just was wondering what happened. But he did these stories where it was like a blog post, and it was one time where he did a story where he just got out of jail or something like that. It's like, but it was completely fabricated. I kind of like that stuff.
You might be talking about me, bro. Of parallel realities?
I don't know. It was made could have been.
The story that you just said reminds me of like my first one.
That's so funny.
The kid was in class and he fell into a dream.
I saw that one for sure. Yeah.
That wasn't.
I love how that. Well, I guess he might have. Well, that's a shame, dude. I think this guy deleted his account. I don't think he's on StoryFire anymore.
Hey, do you remember the name?
It started with a D. It wasn't Damien, no, for sure, but it was. I don't know who it was. Damn, I don't have subscribed to him. He might be subscribed to me, but I subscribed to him at one point, and I don't even see his name on the list anymore. But I will say, in terms of video as well, I like what Extreme Productions doing now with the story arcs and putting film on there.
Oh yeah, that stuff is awesome. Yeah, and that's another point too. Is like, you just mentioned like, what's your favorite author, and it's like, oh well, I remember this one, and it's funny because StoryFire has only been out for a couple years now, but there's so many writers that you got to know since the beginning. I don't see those same faces anymore, and then I can't remember their name, and I'll look them up like you just did, either the council deleted like you just said, or and the last story they posted was a story I read a year ago.
Right.
They were really good. Like, what happened?
Yeah, I don't know where this guy's at.
Wherever you are, I hope you still use that skill.
I hope so.
That to go to waste. But
definitely.
So, let me see here. Diablo had to go for a second, so I'm going to ask. I think there's only a couple more questions.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So that's all of Brent's questions. Now we're back to DamienDiablo. Plans for filming another type of series besides the GTA series / Flame Gang Adventures? Stuff or another game or another story?
Probably not. Well, it's funny. It's actually a good thing you mentioned that. So with my particular series, the idea of what I'm planning is I want to do vlog content on StoryFire. So hopefully in the next round, if I get accepted into it, I want to do kind of more of like a pseudo reality vlog approach. It's basically I'm doing kind of like a sequel to what I did on YouTube at one point and kind of rebooting it and changing a lot of things. But it's a series called Book of Journals. I want to kind of recreate that, and essentially it's about a filmmaker whose life is being controlled by somebody else, by like a director from an unknown force, and he has to figure out where he is, why this is happening, and it involves around this book.
It's like a mystery type series.
Right. It's going to be played like a vlog. It's going to be a pseudo reality based. So
probably the better way to go about it, though, rather than like
I think
cinematic thing, because like it's vlog and it's like you're kind of discovering these things with the audience, and you know what I mean, and you kind of interact with them, and you know, see, you can even feed off of your audience, like, what do you guys think, and then that's wrong, like actually throw them off and pursue that, and then or if they're right, then maybe you could reward them for being right. Yeah.
Flame Gang Adventures might tie into some parts of that, like in the beginning, and then it will branch off into its own series if I get that much into it. The biggest issue, but eventually what it's going to get it to is I want it to get to a point, without getting too much details, I want to get to a point where my character in this series is able to have control over this book to create his own realities and stories around it. So like I kind of keep it going as long as I can, have to be a mix of filmmaking and kind of like, there's a series within a larger story. So like I have sub-series and like Jesse's content.
Yeah, like layers.
Yeah.
Different ways to go about.
Yep.
How to enter the different worlds and all that. Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
I love that stuff.
It's amazing how we can do that.
Definitely.
And make it so good.
Yeah, but we are on the second Dylan question. If you want to.
Okay, second Dylan question. Sorry, I had to tend to some things.
It's all good.
Okay, Dylan's second question. Hey again, sorry for having a lot of questions. This one is for all of you. So, he asked all of us, would any of you want to have a cameo in my serial killer series? If so, what role would you want and give his or her name? So, you want to have a cameo in Dylan's
serial killer series. So am I dying?
Right?
I mean,
that's it. That's what I was gonna ask. Am I dying? Am I gonna be the cameo where I be the first one to get killed?
I mean, I'll be the second dead body, Dylan, if you want.
I don't really have a name to give you because I don't want to give you a name and then just have you kill it. But
right, yeah. I would be down at any point that I am in the area. I would be happy to help.
Make my name Tyrone.
Tyrone.
Yep.
Yep.
Make me Tyrese.
Tyrone, and I don't know what might be.
Tyrell.
Tyro. There you go.
Okay. Final question from StoryFire and from everything, actually.
Oh, wow.
By Captain Clash. This is a good question to end off on. What got you into creating and telling your stories?
Well, for me, what it was initially, like, going back to, like, younger generation, I never really was much of a storyteller until later. And things, like, I never very much was I was creative, don't get me wrong, but I never really took advantage of that because I didn't have a camera, I didn't have that. But had I would have started, I would probably have done it a lot sooner. But for me, a lot of the creating the stories and just telling them in general probably came from back when I would be like, 9, 10, 11, 12, just playing action figures with friends.
Oh, yeah.
So we would have, like, characters doing the most ridiculous things. And what's cool about that is it didn't even have to make sense. Like, it was just basically letting your imagination go wild. If a character got crushed by a boulder and somehow survived and end up being in the next time we continue the story, so be it.
Yeah, anything that happens. It works.
It works.
Yeah.
And I think
is out the window.
I think that's kind of like why making things like comic books, making things like playing with action figures or playing video games, you can break those critical barriers because so many people are locked into that feel of like, ooh, it's gotta fit within the realms, it's gotta make sense. Not all the time. It doesn't always have to make sense.
Yeah, just have fun with it.
Have fun with it.
Don't get hung up on
perfect.
Like,
I find that issue so many times where I have somebody who's like, well, it doesn't make sense. The story, I don't like the way it's going. Oh, I don't have this. And it's like, dude, if it doesn't make sense, make it work. If you have to fucking figure out,
embrace it.
And that's
embrace it.
One thing I was saying before we got cut off earlier. I was saying how like one of my instructors told me, and this is mainly for writing, but I mean, writing is everything. It's writing and
right.
When you're writing, it's like driving at night with your headlights on, and bit by bit,
right? Because you don't know where it's going to take you.
You could go like he made an analogy because we were at school that you're at school, you're driving, and it ain't gonna happen. But if you have your headlights on, it's dark. Somehow you make your way home. You finish that puzzle from the little bits and pieces you get.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's so perfect because it's so true. Don't think oh, I'm screwed because I can't see my house from here.
Right. I like that analogy a lot. I think what's fun with that analogy is do you find it easier for you to have the ending already planned out and then mix it in, or do you have a rough idea with your story's endings or something?
I never tried to think of the ending, but at the same time, I want a rough idea of where it's gonna go. So I kind of think beginning, middle, and not quite end sometimes, because like as a storyteller, you want to surprise yourself. When you shock yourself, just like writing it, and you're like, "Holy crap! I cannot believe! Wow, that turned out way better than I thought it would ever would."
Yeah,
a good story.
That's just it's exactly how I kind of felt the same way. I've had stories in the past where I have many different routes where I was taking a particular story, and even with video editing in general, it's like a puzzle. You really don't know how your video is going to end until you finish the video, and you just have to make it work. Like, you don't get too tied up into a current format or current structure, because if you get too tied up on the ending, then and it doesn't pan out, then you're going to have a hard time. But I feel like having a foundation, a little bit of knowing what you want for the finale, but it's not set in stone, will kind of help you direct it.
Yeah, there was this one
for sure. Like
my first series, actually.
Just don't.
For sure.
Saying.
My first series, actually, I had the ending in mind first. So it was weird whenever I was writing it that I had to like figure out how to get from this point to the end of it and make it work. But it ended up going pretty smooth, actually. Yeah, it was weird whenever you have the ending in mind first before like anything else.
Right.
And sometimes I've tried it when like I need, because like especially in a series, when like I think if for episodes you kind of gotta know where one episode is gonna end so you can start production of the next episode.
Yeah.
Sometimes like I just say, okay, I don't know exactly what's gonna happen in the middle. The episode needs to end for the next one, but let me like not think too hard in the middle. Like
I
know where it needs to go. Let's throw some random things in and see how that goes. Even that will shock you.
Right.
Because it makes the climax that much of the episode that much more shocking yourself. So yeah, I think that's just one of the biggest things for the storyteller you can remember.
I think that's how I feel with it in a lot of story instances. Is I have a feeling about where I'm going with it, and it can go into many different paths with it. And then if it doesn't go the way it can, I usually change it. For instance, this is a prime example I had was actually in the GT Online one. Is this whole thing with the Mafia, the most recent episode, without spoiling it for those who haven't watched it, that wasn't originally going to happen. Like I have two cast members that are on the show right now that are sort of like on a hold, and their original storyline has changed so much. Like, they're originally going to be at the end of the show, but now there's certain choices that are coming up where it will either kill them off very soon, or they'll last until a little bit later, and then it's gone.
Oh wow, that's insane.
It's weird how those things happen.
All right, well,
yeah,
Steven, do you have anything else?
This one?
No, I have nothing else. I think this was an amazing show. It was awesome getting
I learned a lot
hang
about
out with you guys. I think so. I mean, if you guys ever want me to come by again at some point, have a good conversation with other people, because I know it's just the three of us. I imagine the conversation could have been a lot vibrant with more people, but it worked out. But I think it's great.
We'll definitely want to have you on another time in the future.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely keep in touch.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
And
anyway, we're all in the same community and we see each other almost every day. So
free to
around.
Yep. Feel free to check us out on StoryFire. You guys know my profile. You guys will probably be linked in there.
All of Steven's stuff.
All the links
will be posted in the description.
All the links are in the description for all of Steven's stuff.
For us, our posts will be down there too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Whatever you need to find, it'll be in there.
Sounds good, dude.
Hashtag BLAZEClan.
Okay.
Hashtag Flame Gang.
Hashtag BLAZEClan. It works.
It works so well.
We don't get mad here.
We don't get mad.